Abracadabra, my family. It's your girl T, aka the nappy-headed jojoba, here with a bit of a follow-up to my passion twists. Many of you will recall that I wrapped up 2018 and kicked off 2019. What the hell was that move? In protective style mode, which was good because we are in a protective style challenge in case you didn't know. If you want to know more about the Protect Your Ends protective style challenge that some of us are doing in my nap fam here on YouTube, I will link that video right here. But in any event, up until just a couple of days ago, I had in the much popularized passion twists. I did a whole video on that installation process and my overall thoughts and first impressions after I'd had them in a couple of days. In the end, I wound up keeping my passion twist in for about 5 weeks, just a little bit over. And I hadn't really planned to do any sort of follow-up until the Takedown experience, because it was an experience. And frankly, it's one that I don't wish to repeat. So let's get into this. If you are unaware, passion twists are done with free tress, what is it called? Water wave hair. Water wave hair is a rather silky texture. It's a very uniform curl, and then you fluff out that hair and then use that to install twists. Ain't nothing silky about my hair, but it still managed to look rather cute. The problem came at Takedown. It took me roughly twice as long to take out my passion twists compared to how long it would take to take out a set of kinky twists or boho locks or something like that, which is not really an apples to apples comparison because I do tend to crochet my faux locks in the back, and I only have to deal with much of a takedown, so to speak, in the front, because it's pretty easy to just remove things that are crocheted onto flat twists or cornrows. But kinky twists are an apples to apples comparison, and I think because of the silky nature of this hair and the not at all silky nature of my hair, or perhaps it is completely to blame on the bohemian water wave hair, things changed in the course of that hair being installed in my head over that 5 weeks. The texture of that hair lends itself to a lot of the strands of the synthetic hair migrating from one side of the twist to the other where it wasn't supposed to be. And if you notice me sort of angling my head down a lot, it's just because I'm trying to avoid the glare from my window on my glasses. So if it looks a little bit weird, it's just because this looks worse. Anyway, I'm used to that happening occasionally with my real hair. Sometimes strands will migrate from one half of the twist to the other. That happens far less with braids because it tends to keep the hair more organized, but whatever. However, when this was happening with the synthetic hair, I found it actually more difficult to correct those knots and tangles that had been caused by the migrating hair strands than it is to undo them with my own real hair. I think because the strands are maybe so fine, it allowed for perhaps more of them to form these webs, is what I tend to call them, at least in my brain, when I'm dealing with these types of tangles in my hair, or in this case with synthetic hair. There was a lot of webbing going on where the two halves of the twists were basically locking together as you would try to unravel your way up each twist. This is not something that I ever experienced with kinky twist hair, because with Marley hair, it's basically in those little bundles and you just more or less leave it like that. I mean, I guess you can fluff it out, but I don't think most people do just for a regular set of kinky twists. And because those bundles are rather sturdy and compact and put together, it makes Takedown a breeze, at least in my experience. And that was definitely not the case with these passion twists. Here you can see me taking down a passion twist. I'm going to show you the entire thing in real time just so you can see how frequently I was dealing with webbing as I worked my way up the length of the twist to completely take it out. was really quite tedious, and it would take me quite a few minutes just to undo one twist, which in my opinion is kind of unacceptable. I mean, it's one thing for an installation to take a few hours to do, but takedown, that's why I never do braids, honestly. Is like, I do not want my takedown to take me more than an hour, hour and a half max, and this definitely took me over 2 hours. Another problem with these passion twists is part of the installation technique, at least as demonstrated by the boho babe who coined the term passion twists. She recommends that you pull up as you're twisting down on each twist. And you would have seen me doing this in my installation video, because it is somewhat necessary to do that, because the hair, again, it's very silky and it lends itself to unraveling very easily. So you essentially need to create frizz to help those twists to actually stay closed and not unravel on you. So when you're doing that pulling up, what you're actually doing is creating tangles and frizz to help the twist stay sealed, which then becomes a fucking nightmare when it's time to remove them. I actually remember wondering about that being a problem during my installation process. I was just like, I wonder if I'm going to regret doing this pull-up thing, because it seems like it's creating a lot of knots, and sure enough, it was. So add to the actual pulling up technique plus 5 weeks of just general wear and tear of wearing the twists, you have yourself quite a lot of matting, tangling, and knots. And it's one thing if your hair is quite short and you can cut off the majority of the length of the twisted hair. But if you've got medium to long hair, my hair is probably bra strap length or so right now, it's not going to help you that much to cut the ends, because you don't have that much that it's saving you from having to unravel anyway. More to the point, that webbing is still occurring in the portions of the twist where your hair is integrated. At least it was for me. So it was quite the pain in the ass to have to essentially do a proper detangling through each twist as I was just trying to take the hair out, because there was just so much meshing of the synthetic hair with itself. Then it would try to incorporate my real hair in there as we would get higher and higher in the twists, and it was a mess. I would say the only saving grace for me was the fact that I did not use hair that matched my natural hair color. I'm so happy and grateful that I didn't. The fact that I was using purple hair and 99J colored hair made it a lot easier for me to be able to just snip through those webs as I saw them without accidentally cutting any of my real hair. I do know I broke a fair amount of hair just trying to undo a lot of those webs where my real hair was incorporated, where I couldn't cut, and that sucks. There's nothing worse than hearing that snap, snap, snap every time you break another strand of hair, and no sir, I don't like it. And unfortunately, yes, there were plenty of times where I couldn't necessarily cut because my hair was just too worked into that web, into that knot within the twist at certain points. You may be wondering if I plan to do passion twists again based on my experience installing them, wearing them, and here we are talking about the takedown process. Honestly, I probably won't. I mean, never say never, but I probably won't. I do know that I didn't have a great experience taking down my boho locks, for example, the first time I installed them. But the way I installed them the first time, I did individuals in my whole head, and that was really the main reason that takedown was kind of a disaster. With that, I knew I would be able to change my installation technique and therefore have a possibly more easy, breezy takedown experience in future endeavors, and that's exactly what happened. Now that I do the crochet latch hook of the locks in the back, it's easy to take that out. But with this, there isn't really an alternative way to deal with this style or to install this style that would prevent this from happening. I suppose I could work on my installation to some degree to try to maybe find a way around doing the pulling up method that creates all of that frizz, which honestly is part of the look and aesthetic of the style, and I do like the look of the style. But all of that frizzing and tangling ultimately is a nightmare takedown, and I don't really see a workaround since that is the style. Another reason I'm not so keen to do passion twists again is I wear my hair up in a bun most of the time, even if I have in a protective style like such as kinky twist or in this case passion twists. Typically it is recommended you use something around like 9 packs of hair, which is fucking crazy to me. I used 5 packs, which is about half, or in some cases less than half, because I've seen people use even more than 9 packs of this free tress hair. And even with 5 packs, when I would put that hair in a bun, it felt heavy. I remember sometimes I would be talking to someone and I would want to rest my head on my hand like this, and just the weight of the bun would be so much I would actually have to instead hold the bun so that I wouldn't feel it sort of like tugging on my scalp as it would lean in a certain direction. And ain't nobody got time for all that mess. A third strike is the prepping of the hair. I really despised having to take probably a couple hours just prepping all that water wave hair and fluffing out each strand one by one. And that honestly should have been the harbinger of the fucking nightmare that was the takedown, because prepping that hair, when you're fluffing it out, it starts tangling and frizzing up before you even put it in your head. So it came as no surprise to me that I had this much tangling. I just didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was at Takedown. It was honestly much worse than I was expecting. Considering the size and number of twists that I had, because some of y'all know I hate doing my hair, so I always do my braided styles, like box braid styles, larger, because one, I like the look, and two, it takes me less time. So I always do medium large twists and things like that, and I didn't have that many twists on my head, so they were already pretty big. I didn't have that many of them, and for this takedown to take me over 2 hours to do is unacceptable for me. So the verdict for me on Passion Twist is it most likely will not be a repeat style. I thought it was super cute. I'm glad to have worn it the once, but just the weight of my bun was just no bueno for me. It was really just, I was very ready to get that hair out of my head, honestly, by the time the 5 weeks was up. And then to be so ready to have it out and then to have to deal with the tedium of a takedown like that, it's just too much for me. There you have it, guys. I think the only option I have would be to figure out a way to keep those twists from unraveling without creating as much frizz during the installation process. I know I did see one video of a girl who essentially, similar to how you would have faux locks, did her twists on just the hair itself and then crocheted them onto her head, onto cornrows. I don't think I'm going to do that, honestly, because that just seems like a lot of work. It's one thing to buy locks that are already done and you can just put them in and go, but to spend hours braiding my hair down, then I have to twist all these twists, then I still have to crochet them, latch hook them onto my head. Girl, bye. I ain't doing all that shit. The only idea I have is perhaps to, as I get toward the end of each passion twist, to braid instead of twist at the bottom in the hopes that that would keep it closed better. But yeah, I'm leaning toward a no, not gonna revisit at this particular moment in time. That's going to do it for me today, guys. I just wanted to give you guys a bit of a follow-up on my experience with Passion Twist, because I think the takedown process of a style is something important to consider. And I know a lot of you guys saw the barrage of YouTube videos and Instagram posts on Passion Twist going around when it was that Passion Twist frenzy toward the end of 2018, and also tried the style. So hopefully you will have a better takedown experience than I did. Oh, and before I forget, I know someone's going to ask about this hair. It's already linked in the description box if you were curious. Clearly I just can't seem to give up my purple hair. Different hue of purple, more of a lilac lavender situation, but it's just my power color, baby. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Godspeed to you if you are about to take down some passion twists, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's some nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now.